Feel like MC Hammer, the cat and shit.
Yes.
Baila. Rita. You're vaccinated? Rita.
I ain't trying to drink before I get the serious topics out of the way, right?
Because it's name Chinese job. Baila con Jesus. Play music, man. Them boys come to give me a parang.
Yes.
They say they planning for ninja, man. If you see the side in front my gate, but it only half get vaccinated. I bring in the talk.
Yes.
I leave for the mara.
What?
The quattro and guitar. Say they get a show Seneca. Man dolin, man frightened. Don't know what will happen.
Yep.
If one job he gets, wait outside. You don't come in yet. It's a vaccine parang.
It's a vaccine parang.
It's a vaccine parang.
Yes.
It's a vaccine parang.
It's a vaccine parang.
It's a vaccine parang. This year you can't bust me back unless you take your Pfizer.
Yes.
They come in Bosca and Maxi. If you see the face of the hungry, planning for my rum and my black cake. It's a coating of Bill Gates. Background got to come in, but them in quarantine. A man with a stretcher, say he get Madonna, but face couldn't come in. Them ain't get no vaccine, so he called the stretcher and outside on vaccine take over. It's a vaccine parang.
It's a vaccine parang. Hey, welcome to episode 78 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. My name is Corey Shepherd, and you might have guessed. You can find us on any podcasting platform any Tuesday morning. You wake up really bright. And listen, I ain't drinking so much in this episode last time because you see me, I drinking and enjoying myself with all you. And then I had to stay up in the night and edit, and I fallen up my sleep on this Crown. You see, I can't talk. Falling asleep on myself with this Crown Royal in my system. So I feel like I'll switch back to the puncher cream and go a lazy this episode, but we here. Voice of the one ninja with vaccine parang, the man say, no, here.
All over the dog that's spreading.
Yes.
The wrong house they paranging. They send for the police for ninja. But this may go for driving the car. I give them a punching while the people whining. Two bands in the party. If you see woman check their body, Rita bring a pastel. Ingrid start to quarrel. She cussing with Nancy. So she liming with work Josie. There's a vaccine for her.
So listen, the mandatory vaccine is on the highlight. When the man dress up and he come and talk, people really say it's a mandatory vaccine coming in. So it's vaccinated parang we taking this year. That's what we doing. A real studying how it's going to end up this year, right? Enjoy easy. I'm studying how it's going to end up this year with parang and thing when everybody frightened. I tell all you, we done lost 2 soldiers in the parang already. Salute to my guys, scratch my boy Peter. You can't say salute to people when they pass away. We're supposed to say rest in peace to them and condolences to their family. Condolences to us as the parent thereof, because this is the first season we're going into without 2 guitar man boys. So I don't know what we're gonna do. I myself I'm gonna buy a guitar. Tomorrow I'm gonna buy a guitar and see if I could play a little guitar. It's easy to find a quattro man, you know. It's harder to find somebody who could play a nice little guitar. But like Ninja says, a vaccine parang. So I see it in the Guardian here. I'm going straight into the hard news before I take hard drinks. That makes sense? I don't want no problems this week when I'm fumbling on myself, reading an article wrong, and then I can't stay up to edit something. We're going to do this real nice and smooth. And this is a music episode. I'm going to cover about 5 stories. And then we're going to have a decider between who's the real soca parang king in this country. I bring it down to 2 people. I bring it down to Baron and Scrunter. And I want to see who I don't know who all you feel is the bigger one in soca parang. After going through all these songs and things, I have an idea who is the real king. But it have some song. If they had to do a verses, who is our local Swiss Beats and Timbaland boy? Penny and Voice on. I wonder if they could get Baron and Scrunter to do our verses and put some of those songs one next to one another. Because these men are huge Christmas hits, and this is outside of the normal catalog with big soca hits. Some of the most iconic soca is sung by these 2 men that everlasting. You know what I mean? Salute to both of them. But we had to come down to who is the real boss of the Christmas season and find. So we supposed to know this. We supposed to know which one of them is the giant. But I would love to see them do our verses so that they had to stand up in front of some of these songs. Imagine Scrunter playing some of his song and Baron had to wait there for his next tune to play. It will get better, you know. So, but let me deal with the serious stuff first. Kamal Georges. Now, it's supposed to have an interview going on. And while I'm recording this interview is going on. So if for any reason you hear it late, it's because that interview went late and it had something in it I wanted to talk about and I put it in the episode. So if you're hearing this and it's late in your time already, expect to hear about Rowley in the end of the episode. If not, well, it wasn't good. And I suspect that a big part of this interview is going to come to talk about mandatory vaccination. Right now, as we talk about Voice and Penny, I want you to flash back in your mind to when they had a thing called Conversations with the Prime Minister. I don't know if you remember that. And he come in a nice little flowered shirt on these things, and he sit down with Major Penny and them, and they talk about promoters and how promoters are affected by COVID. And then he went into the next room and he was talking to a young producer. What was the youth man name, boy? I want to say Mill Beats, no, I'm pretty sure I have that wrong. But a young producer, and he was playing some rhythms for him and telling him about Zest music. And you know what I mean? You see the lighter side, if you could say that, or Rowley, the human side of him. You saw it coming out in that. Salute to him for that. I find that was a real good move. And what's his conduct that again, boy? Like, I can't remember. But I know Penny had coming in. I can't remember who had conducted the interview itself. No, it's not there. I was searching my mind about it. But now it's Kamal Georges, and I see in the preview of it in the Guardian, it looking like he in the same, a different flowered shirt. No Campari this time, because the man asked for a Campari the last time. And there are no drinks in front of him. The only thing next to him in the photo is water. So I expect it to be a sober conversation. But the mandatory vaccine, I think, is where he coming to discuss. And salute to my guy Al. I remember this time. When I hear mandatory vaccine, right, I want you to understand that I'm not the smartest man alive. You know what I mean? Smart is not my thing. I was thinking of mandatory vaccines, like if you're not vaccinated, you could get arrested. I don't know why I went straight to a police state, but I thought it's one of them things, because when they say mandatory military service, and what do you used to call it again, boy? There was a name for it when you turn 18, you must do a mandatory national service. That was a discussion here at a point in time too. Meaning you had to go in the army, or you had to do something for the country at that point, right? They had 2 years mandatory national service or whatever it is, right? So in my mind, mandatory vaccination mean walk with your vaccine card everywhere. If you catch you without your vaccine card, you are going to jail, you're going to pay a fine and that kind of thing. But what I'll call and tell me, it make more sense, you know what I mean? It probably mean access to certain amenities will only be provided or allowed for people who already take the vaccine or fully vaccinated, right? So as everything indicated that going down that direction and everything else happening everywhere in the world, there's no reason to say I'll probably write about that. And if that's the case, then I feel it's something that I could be a little more in support of. I could be in a little more support of the idea of if you have to go in licensing office or you have to go for the birth paper thing. I wonder if the hospital is one of them places, but if you have to go and make a baby, yeah, I mean, how far it will go. Well, let me just read what Kamal Georges and them saying in the Guardian here, right? Government considers mandatory vaccinations on public service safe zones. This seems to be a photo directly from the interview that is on the way. And it goes, government is giving serious consideration to converting the public service into safe zones as it struggles to convince more citizens to get vaccinated. And with COVID-19 cases averaging 788 daily in the last week, mandating vaccinations could soon become a reality. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, in a Guardian media exclusive interview on Friday at the Prime Minister's residence in Tobago, he said that the government will have to do what is reasonable and feasible in order to give us the best protection in a pandemic. In the last 3 weeks, 436 people died from COVID. When you say them things out loud, it's really rough. You know? I mean, I'm watching the numbers every day, almost watching the numbers and trying not to watch them. I wonder if I'm in the same space where I see in the updates, but I almost, they used to tell you close one eye. I feel I'm in close one eye mode because I can't allow it to affect. It's depressing for me when I think about it for too long. But roughly 21 people dying daily. Dr. Rowley explained that the government may want to expand the safe zone initiative that has been implemented in restaurants and bars to other areas of the country. So the safe zone thing, let me talk about that safe zone thing for a minute, right, while we're on the topic. I understand the point of the safe zones and keeping vaccinated people together. I still never bought into that idea that the unvaccinated are a threat to the vaccinated, except that if you choose not to be vaccinated, right, and you end up in the public healthcare system because of that, because of what is that? I don't know what the choice based on. I stopping just short of calling it a ridiculous choice, right? Because I believe people should have their own options. But I see some countries who putting it in place where if you chose to be unvaccinated, we provide free vaccines for you. We even bring the vaccines close to you so you ain't have to travel so far. Every health center in the country, you could go and get vaccinated if you want. So the thing is this. Should you choose not to get vaccinated in some countries, especially where they have a public government-provided healthcare system, they're sending you a bill. When you come in the hospital, you have to go on ICU, you have to pay for your own oxygen and pay for everything. That way the unvaccinated doesn't they don't create an additional burden for the state. This is already burdensome on the state. And when I say the state, it's me and you taxpayers' dollars, you know. So I don't know how people feel about that idea. Listen, you choose not to be vaccinated, that is your right and your choice. But if you're so sure that COVID not going to do you nothing, if there's a gamble you're willing to take and you know that it's fake and in 5 years everybody will take the vaccine, go dead and thing, it might be a good idea for you to stay out of the public healthcare system. And I'm not talking about people who have some condition that causes them not to be vaccinated. I'm talking about the people who saying, COVID ain't gonna kill you, it really don't do you nothing, you're getting a jab, or you will get 2,500 booster shot and still be lining up and all those things. If that's the way you feel, cool. If the gamble you're willing to take is that you healthy enough and you could exercise your way out of it and nothing shouldn't happen to you, then if something does happen to you in the end, I see in some countries going down the road, you go pay for your own healthcare at that point in time. Pay the bill so that you don't rob other people of the opportunity to get oxygen and ICU spaces and the ventilators and everything else that goes along with the healthcare for COVID. Or to add to that, the people who think that ivermectin will be alright, because the government or the hospitals now, as far as my knowledge, not issuing ivermectin or hydrochloroquine or whatever the other things are that they say could treat COVID. And people going out and buy it for themselves. When they get COVID and they're home and they ain't going in the hospital, they're going out, even though they said that they were healthy enough and they don't need no vaccine and they could keep your poison and all those things. They're going out and they're buying drugs to help protect themselves. So the same way you're paying for your own ivermectin and you're paying for your own, how do you call the thing again? Hydrochloroquine. They still do that, or that didn't pass. The same way you're doing that, you could roll out and pay for your oxygen, pay for your bed space, pay for all those things, just to make sure that you are no longer a burden. Because I do feel the pressure building up of this vaccinated versus unvaccinated. And one of the things I worried about now is that if this announcement on Monday night here is coming where you can't access public services. Now, you know, every time I say public services, I'm trying to figure out like what public services I access. Like, I can't remember. One thing I know, I want to make it BIR. I wonder if they could get Border Inland Revenue to be a safe zone, because me vaccinated or no, I can't go in BIR and NIS and these places. I'm not vaccinated no more if that's the case, if that's all you're going to do. But other services like licensing is the only one I could really think about. What people just go to the government for? Registrar birth, if it's registrar death, well, they're bound to access that. But whatever you're supposed to go to, apparently that is where they're going down the road of making it mandatory. So a growing number of countries are going back to this article, right? A growing number of countries are making shots compulsory for public servants and other workers. Canada, Croatia, Denmark, Egypt, and Italy, among dozens of other countries, require that people must be vaccinated to work in the public sector or access its services. Now, tricky stuff, right? Tricky stuff. Because I saw New York, and I think I talk about it here too, when New York had made vaccinations mandatory for nurses. So they gave a deadline for healthcare workers, I should say. They gave a deadline for people who in healthcare for them to be vaccinated. And if you didn't get vaccinated by that date, you lose your job, or you're not rostered for shifts anymore. Now, I find that to be a rough thing, because some of the nurses and so on I follow on Instagram, or I guess the stories that came up on Instagram was nurses who were saying, listen, I remember one in particular where she showed a picture of her shoes. And she was talking about these shoes being 10 years old and we walked through so much of her life. And so she sees so many deaths and saves so many lives and sees so many babies born and all those things. And today, she'll no longer wear these shoes because governing bodies in New York, the mayor or whosoever had made that decision at the time, say that you can't be among patients if you're not vaccinated. Now, this is something somebody had to help me understand again, because number one, that's a slap in the face, most definitely, to people who battled through what New York went through initially, before there were vaccines available. And you were good enough to provide the healthcare and work 24-hour shifts and so on. You remember the early photos when people masks was marking their face and their goggles and stuff? You went through all that just to be told at some point in time that, hey, you didn't take the vaccine, so you can't work no more. Your profession is no longer. Your career is over, at least in this state. I don't find that to be fair at all. And then the question I have is, okay, so if a nurse is unvaccinated, I do find, I could see the ridiculousness in it, right? Where you're a healthcare worker administering things to people and yet you're telling people don't get, or you don't want to get vaccinated while you might well be encouraging people to get vaccinated. But what is the threat? Is what I keep asking here. If you choose not to be vaccinated, I think you putting yourself under strain. Forget Trinidad for a minute, right? New York, the States, you have to go and pay for your own healthcare. So you putting yourself under strain. And if you end up in the healthcare system, you have to go and pay for your healthcare and so on. So how is an unvaccinated person affecting people who vaccinated in a hospital? You're in a hospital already, which means you're in an advanced state of COVID or a heightened state of COVID. Let's say you're vaccinated. Does an unvaccinated person make you get more sick or anything like that? I genuinely asking it because it's confusing for me. And if you're unvaccinated and you're in the public healthcare and you're in the healthcare system, would it matter if the person who's taking care of you is vaccinated or not? Your chances not going to be any better, I think. So nobody's saying that when you're unvaccinated, the frequency with which you could get COVID goes up. Nobody's saying that. No, I'm hearing it, but I'm not hearing it from an official source that make me feel comfortable with the information that when you're unvaccinated, the severity with which you get COVID and could transmit COVID is worse. And if that's the case, then I understand. But if those things are not the case, then I'm struggling to understand. And I do feel as if a big part of it is the economics. To be honest with you, I feel like it's a money thing. Not that anything wrong with that, but in our system here of public healthcare, public and private healthcare, kind of hybrid we have, right? Mixed economy. When I say about that, you could say that the government or our government has to safeguard us from an overburdened public healthcare system by trying to make sure that as much people as possible don't end up in the system and overburden and crash the system, which will affect everybody with every illness we have, right? In a place like the States where you have to pay for your own healthcare, I believe that the concern could still be along similar lines and is economics, because if you have too many people who getting severely ill, where they need a hospital bed, and they explain to us what a hospital bed is, right? Let's assume that in the States you have 1 million hospital beds across the United States. Even though people paying for their own healthcare, you still have a big problem if you have 1 million hospital beds and you have 1.5 million people needing a hospital bed. Then you have a whole problem on your hands state to state anyway. It wouldn't matter if people paying for it overall. And with the way we are as people, it's going to be seen as poor governance, whether you're in a state like Trinidad or you're in a state like the US. But I'm not sure why they don't just come out and say, here we're going on. This is about the money. We cannot afford for so much people to get sick in any one of these societies you're dealing with. I find like it's a more reasonable explanation, because we can't continue to go forward in this, treating unvaccinated people like they're dummies. And I don't know why we feel that will be successful. Like if you talk down to people enough and you make them feel stupid enough because we know the science and you don't know the science. I don't know if that's going to help anything. What's the goal? The goal is to get people vaccinated or not. Let me go to talking to a child, right? If you need to get a child, let me say, you know when you're potty training a child? Oh, you know what was a good example? I saw a photographer on Instagram recently. No, I was a little concerned about this, because to be honest with you, she was taking pictures of little children, and I didn't think of how hard that is to do with little babies, I should say, because you as a parent expecting to dress up this child and all this frou-frou, change their whole morning routine because you hustling to come out of the house to do this thing, The child, you're running late, so you're hustling the child and your house, the household hostile before they leave home. You probably ain't eat breakfast at the same time she got accustomed eating breakfast. And now you carry your little daughter in this photo studio. And in your mind, you're going to get these nice smiling photos with, with everybody in the same damn pajama for Christmas. And as a holly jolly Christmas with milk and cookies. That's our expectation as parents, right? I never really thought about how hard that is for a photographer. Because if you can't deliver on that, if you send people pictures without their children really looking greasy and they're crying and they're fussing and they're wriggling in your hand and the mother really looking frustrated because she fed up and the father don't want to wear this pajama, a part of the role of a photographer is a damn entertainer. I never thought of this, right? Until I see this on Instagram where this girl have a long handle. It looked like a dust cloth. One of them dusters. You know them dusters they used to beat you with that long time like a chicken whip. I find she could have used something a little more hygienic. But long story short, what she doing is she taking the picture with one hand and she's stretching out this big duster to tickle the child and she's tickling mommy and tickling. Can't do me that. If me and Stacey and Zachary go to thing and everything with a duster on it, tickle me if you tickle the wrong spot. It's a whole photographer. Anyway, you reach the double palm just now. What the hell I bring up all that for? I can't remember what I was talking about now. Oh, so the photographer is an entertainer. You have to create the environment for that child to smile and all that. That was a long way to a short story. But what I'm saying is, when you're dealing with unvaccinated people, maybe you should get a little broom and tickle the unvaccinated people rather than trying to beat them with a cocaine broom with the vaccinated and saying, I'm only retarded, and only, you can't say that again. Only this and only that, and only reading, and only trusting Facebook more than the science. We can't continue down. Why we feel like this going to work? And now we feel like the best move to make is to dress up in a flower shirt and come and say, well, what do we have to do with people in this country? We provide the vaccine, so we're going to make sure that you can't walk, you can't come down Piccadilly Street if you're not vaccinated, and you could go up Frederick Street, but you can't come down Henry Street if you're not. I think it's going to lead to a huge amount of resistance. This is my fear, that as soon as this press conference or interview or little chat is done, the people going to come out like how they came out in the savannah the other day in large numbers in protest. I believe that the Aboods and whoever they released the other day from that one in the savannah where they arrest a few people, they're probably in their WhatsApp group now mobilizing so that as soon as he's done with that, they're going to take to the streets. Could the numbers be higher? We had 788 average at 21 deaths. We're flirting with the idea of going to 1,040 deaths. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that they have people who wait, and I'm seeing it bubbling up on Instagram where you have a bunch of people who waiting for this call to be made to mandate vaccines. And like everywhere else in the world, everybody going to run out. But the very short version of that very long point I just make is tickle the damn unvaccinated people. We had to try a different method. It can't be that you're browbeating them with the fact that they're unwise. Well, you don't think if you keep telling people, boy, you're unwise, you're stupid, you're making it wrong. If you keep telling adults that what you think going to happen, they're going to get even more resistant. So we're heading into a period of loggerheads. And I have an example for you of how stupid people really think unvaccinated people are. People genuinely believe that when you're unvaccinated, you're stupid. I want you to listen to this. Now, to see this, you probably had to go on either Ian Allen Instagram page or MYOB page. But I want you to listen to this for me, right?
You know, ladies and gentlemen, today I could have been lying in this casket dead. I have lost so many friends. It is unbelievable. They stood right in front of me saying, Ian, I am not going to take that vaccine. You shouldn't take it. But today, they all passed away. They all died and gone. You want to be there for your family? Take the vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ian Allen. It's not a ledge, it's a fact. I am alive. Please don't hesitate. Vaccinate. That could have been me going there, but I'm alive. As you can see.
Vaccinate today, live tomorrow.
No, listen, don't laugh, right? Because I see. Don't laugh. I ain't laughing, right? Because that's a serious message. But I want to find a way. Go on. I'm telling you the whole Instagram page because sometimes MYOB hard to find. MYOB.ENTTT. Go on that and search until you see Ian Allen on the page. And Ian Allen is doing a a vaccine endorsement. Now, I will say, right, that what they should have do with celebrity endorsements, we should have do a year ago. I don't know if you'd have convinced people to do it a year ago, because I remember in the States when they had tried to get like LeBron and them and other celebrities to endorse vaccination. They had their own hesitation and stuff. But I understand they have one of these with Kenny J too. Which one is he? Trinidad one? Kenny J or Kenny G? You want my brush? Yeah, they have one with him too apparently. But listen, only listen to that ad properly, or you want to play it again. Rewind it again if you ain't heard good, right? And listen to what he's saying. He could have been dead. His friends in front of him was saying they don't want to take the vaccine. That man said every one of them dead. So in other words, he's trying to say that once you don't take the vaccine, you're going to dead. That is also untrue. Like vaccinated people like myself, we always talking about the misinformation that being spread about the vaccine, right? But we just good spread misinformation too. And why would you create ads saying, I went to all of my friends and they came to me and they said, Ian, we don't want to take the vaccine and they are all dead. Come on, son. Why are we doing this? This is the best way we could come up with a convict. Other than that, I'm not a very smart guy. This episode will prove, I should name this episode that I'm not a very smart guy. I just be trying to figure out things as I go along. Can anybody remind me if when Ian had COVID, if vaccines were available in this country? The nice thing about doing this podcast is my thoughts are documented every weekend. So I could go back in this podcast when I talk about Ian Allen getting COVID and how sad it was and frightening for everybody and those things, but there was no vaccine available in Trinidad. I want to go as far to say as the vaccine was not even developed. It wasn't available anywhere in the world when Ian got COVID, right? But you come in on an ad to say, hey, this is me. For all who ain't get to see it, right? The man is like lying down in a casket in the advertisement, talking, and he's talking too. He's standing up and he lying down. It's 2 Ian, right? It's Ian by Ian. And he looking down in the casket at his dead self, saying this could have been me. No, it's true because anybody get COVID could go. Let me be realistic. Let me be brutal. But you trying to say that the lack of vaccination is what kill everybody else. But you just survive on your own. You born with the vaccine. It don't make sense. Like you try. I don't know why we keep talking down to people and expecting that they will use the photographer strategy. Tickle them, tickle the baby. Find a different or use a different approach. This can't be the best approach. There's no vaccine. Remember when should I go back and play when he was crying and thing? No, that is nothing to laugh at. We don't laugh at that, right? That is nothing to laugh at. But this ad is a joke. It's going to be because now, okay, so let me put it this way. This ad might appeal to people who are already vaccinated, but that is not the target audience. So I want to talk some marketing thing. If you're trying to get a response out of a target audience, why you're preaching to the converted? You're not trying to see somebody who might have had issues with the vaccine and address it. It's adults. Address the people real concerns. The people real concerns is that they're going to have booster shots coming over and over and over. Instead of accepting that and coming out and say that is likely to be the case in the beginning, we kind of say, nah, when you get 2 shots, you're good to go. Now they're saying we need a 3rd shot. Pfizer come out last week and say, we're going on a 4th shot with the Omniclong and so on. All right, that's enough of that. Let me talk about Omniclong one time. I want to get out of these serious topics now because I really come here to split Scrunter and Baron. The Omniclong virus is here, right? You see, this is a bad day for me to do this episode, and I feel like, you know what I mean? I'm in a laughy mood and it's serious topics, and I don't want to laugh out too much of serious business. But apparently, the person who came here and was tested positive for COVID, I want to be sensitive and serious, right? The person who tested positive for COVID, who had the Omniclong variant, apparently boarded a flight from New York in transit through Panama with all these things, right? And they had a positive test that get through all these things, right? I hear somebody post on Twitter, they say Porky from UE wasn't even lying near UE front gate. If he was even I don't know. I'm not laughing, right? I just traveled last week, and I'm pretty sure on this podcast I came and I tell people, and Stacey now traveled the other day, so as a bachelor. this is why I should have opened with. I forget that what's Scrunter Bachelor song is a bachelor for the week. But anyway, I see what it takes in terms of the verification process, both when you're leaving and when you're coming back. Remember that I told you that I was in the States and I changed my flight date. Then I realized 72 hours, my test would not be valid. And I told myself I could run a little dangerous racket, and change the date on the vaccine thing and a little PDF if I don't just, you're going to change it. But I was so scared. I so coward, if I do them kind of thing, right? Even if I ain't get catch, the blood pressure spike that I going to get, I think not worth the 75 US I had to pay to get the test. So I went and get retested and come back. You had to upload your test, upload your vaccine card. Them things have to be verified by some app. American have Verifly, Caribbean have some others. I think the Trinidad and Tobago have something called TT Travelpass. You have to put who is trying to convince me? And this is why politicians go always run into problems with me, because they're in the parliament politicizing this. Because Rural Munilal is asking Terence the Alsing what airline it coming on, and then the Alsing say, well, Dynamite work to tell you what airline it coming on, and Rural say, oh, I can't check a boarding pass. That is how them going back and forth in parliament. They've been politicizing this thing for the longest time, and they almost announce that they stopped just short of saying the airline is at fault for bringing Omniclong here, almost like if to say this government's measures were so good that we were sure there was going to be no Omniclong, and then this airlines. Dude, it was going to have whatever variant it have, all the variants go reach here. All. I don't know why we think that we could govern ourselves away from a pandemic. The reality, you remember when we was number one in the management of COVID, and we celebrate that, and then within 3-4 months, we was nearly dead last. There's no how much you could really do, how much you could restrict movements of people. But one of the questions I ever confused is, with all that verification, how was that person still able to come in? Because I could tell you, the lady by the American Airlines desk, she was like Porky from UE. She didn't even let me check in or do anything by the desk until I fill out all the TT Travelpass info. When she get the Travelpass info now, she take whatever, there's a number or something, she enter that on the system. But she herself checked my vaccine card and my negative COVID test, as she was doing with everybody else. When you're going up with American, this Verifly app, you have to upload it. When you upload it, it's taking about a 20 minutes, half hour, and then you get back an email saying verified. So you telling me that she upload these things, she put the information on TT Travelpass, and somehow it didn't reject the application. So wait, what is the point of Travelpass? We overexpose. And I mean, people still don't want to get vaccinated in these streets, but we overexposed if that's the case. What is being verified? And then we come posing to say, well, the airline, and what the check, Panama. Why didn't address the TT Travelpass thing? What happened with that? How come if somebody in the airline make a mistake, sometimes you see so much test for the day, that when you see one saying positive, you probably think it's a good thing, you know what I mean? So much negativity in your life. So as the person who checking in people, everything is at a negativity. And you see one positive result, so you say, well, let this person go through. Finally, some positivity in my day. That person make a mistake. You know what I mean? How is the upload process failing? Is it a digital process? Is it where it going to some kind of verification place in one of them outsourced call center type units in India, or what it is happening? Somebody needs to explain these things, and nobody seems to be asking these questions. Like, a lot of these stories this week have me more confused after I read this story than when I start this story. All right, so the Omniclong here, whether we like it or not, so you take care of yourself. Whether it's vaccine, you have to get booster shot, you're a fit person, you eat well, you know what I mean? You stay home, you don't go around nobody, you wear a mask right through, whatever it is you have to do to safeguard yourself. All you know, my stance on this, I will encourage anybody who listening to this who unvaccinated, I would encourage you to check with your physician and go and take the closest vaccine to you, as Dr. White tell me. He said, boy, whichever vaccine they give you, go and get that fast. I waiting for them to give me more booster shot too. I putting it on record too that I don't care if it have 100 booster coming. I taking the 100, but that is me. Whatever all you do, safeguard all yourself, because this is not a nice time, you know. All of us, we all might not be like Ian Allen, where all our unvaccinated friends died. But what I can tell you is that when I think through the people who I know who passed away from COVID, almost all of them were unvaccinated. And I know more and more people who get vaccinated. But I know a good bit of people who unvaccinated who get COVID and nothing happened to them at all too. So I don't want to leave that out as if that don't exist. But safeguard yourselves and let you get through this. Now, on some more serious matters here. I want to deal with all these serious things before we start to take a little sours. Two Sangre Grande women who said they were robbed and kidnapped by one of their boyfriends. I'm going to try my best with this story. It's very, very difficult. Well, listen with me. Anything you hear here is not my reading problems. This is genuinely confusing. I told you, me is so smart and I'm trying to figure this out. Two Sangre Grande women who said they were robbed and kidnapped by one of their boyfriends at a hotel in Arima, who was saved after jumping out of the car that they were in and sought refuge by a bar. Police later found and arrested the man who kidnapped and robbed them at an ATM in shops of... I'm confused already. They didn't just say it was one of their boyfriends. I don't understand how two people could have one of their boyfriends. What do you mean? One of the two people's boyfriend? Or the two people have real boyfriends and this is just one? But also they say he kidnapped and robbed them. And they find him at an ATM withdrawing cash. Okay, so let's do this 101, right? Robbery 101. Maybe when you rob somebody the ATM card, you don't go straight to the home branch ATM to withdraw money. Let me just wise up among one another. We just advising and helping one another. Me and the smartest person, so let me be not smart together and see if we can add this up to one smart person. Police reported that about 3 p.m. on Saturday, the man and his girlfriend were at a hotel along Tumpuna Road, Arima, when the man attacked her and her friend. So the man and the friend, the girl and her friend was at the hotel with the man. The man who lives in Pinto Road, Arima, is alleged to have shown his girlfriend something resembling a gun after locking the door and telling her that she could not leave the room. He also threatened to kill her. Wow. This is Zach Stacy. Well, how does this escalate so quick? Like, you went in the spot with your girl. Number one, if there's your girl, right? How come are you going in a little hotel like this? You know what I mean? This is not songing like a Hyatt or a Hilton or any kind of, you know what I mean? This is songing very much like a by-the-hour establishment. After locking the door, the man repeatedly began beating the woman until she called out for help and was rescued by an employee. After being rescued, the woman ran into the garage. Okay, so this is definitely a by the hour because Hilton has no garage, Marriott has no garage. These places have no garage. So if you have a garage, then all we know what we're talking about, right? The naked man followed, and while armed with a scissors, wait, hold on. This story escalating and de-escalating too fast for me to follow. I don't understand. He just had a gun or something resembling a gun. Now we have a scissors. Okay, all right. Demanding that his girlfriend hand over the clothes she was wearing. Wait. Somebody played me for a fool, man. I tell you, he's not the smartest man to have it. After locking the door, the man reportedly began beating the woman until she called for help. An employee came in. After being rescued by the employee, the woman ran to the garage where her friend was waiting. So the friend was in the garage. All right, we're clearing up some stuff. Listen, I patted myself on the back if we could figure out this story here together. You know, I would need help. But the friend was in the car in the garage. And the man and his girlfriend was in the room. But for some reason, the man started to beat the girl. And the employee of the establishment come in to see what it is going on with all this beating. Because this is a place where you carry people to beat, but not that kind of beat. But alright. So the naked man... I'm going through that. The naked man followed armed with a knife. The naked man followed and while armed with scissors demanded that his girlfriend hand over the clothes she was wearing. Okay, so we run out of the room. He come naked out. Why he didn't just put back on his own clothes? He run out of the room into the garage, and then he take the scissors. The man that she give him her clothes, He take 3 cell phones. Her bank had the pin. Was she at the pin right on? What do you mean he take the pin? Well, I suppose I had to assume that he threatened her with his scissors and his somewhat gun-like substance and put them 2 things together and she get frightened and gave him the pin, right? He then put on his girlfriend's clothing. A leopard printed tights and a black top before placing what the victim said was a pen with a blade. He gone from gun to scissors to pen, right? The man then put on the girlfriend's clothing, a leopard printed tights and a black top before placing what the victim said was a pen with a blade on it. A pen with a blade on it by her neck. And ordered she hand over the keys to a silver Almera. So this is the greatest robber of all. Let me just recap, right, as we go along, just so that we're on the same page. 2 girls went to that guy to a hotel, a resort. And while they were doing what they came to do at the resort, 1 girl would stay in the car and 2 of them went in the room. You know, it's something like one of them thinking, try to make a little threesome. You want to make something happen, spice up your relationship. But one girl must refuse and she decides she ain't coming upstairs, right? And then when you try to coax your girlfriend now into telling your friend come upstairs, you make me and she come here and the thing and there's a setup scene and all, you know, it turned into a beating. Somehow, it get violent. Employee running, but the man like he was hot because he was done naked already. He was hot. He wasn't wasting no time. You just out of foil immediately when you go in a room. It's not such a talk. You know, sometimes you carry a little something to sip. But that is one for in your 40s and thing. Then you're 20, out of foil immediately. But she didn't get any memo, so she still had foil. And he take somewhere between a gun and knife and a pen and a scissors, somewhere in between there, he wanted her foil for himself because I don't know if the employee come in and take the clothes and I don't know, but he take the clothes, he put it on, which is a leopard tights and a little black top. Now, the good thing about this, right, is if you're on social media in Trinidad, you've seen these pictures already. If you're abroad and you didn't see the pictures, just go to any one of them. News Before the News, MYOB, look for any one of them Instagram pages and you will see my guy in this man get arrested in the tights. But let's go. We don't go so far. He robbed 3 phones, a bank card, the PIN number, and a whole Nissan Almera. When is National Awards? What we give? Trinity Cross or something? The man made both women get into the car. Hold on. He robbed the girl her clothes. He take the keys to the Almera, but he put both of them back in the Almera. So what she was wearing, what she ended up in his clothes. Like what he have on the leotards. Oh no, the leopard print. So what she had on when she gave him her leopard print. The woman ran out of the car and into a bar when it stopped by the traffic lights at Tumpuna Road and Churchill Roosevelt. On the highway. It's on the highway she ran out of the car. These is my heroes. So if the man had on her tights on top, I had to assume she run out. She out of her. No, and the friend's safe, but they figure out how to run out on the highway. There they call police. And a mobile patrol spotted the man at the ATM attempted to withdraw cash. He take 3 cell phones from them. Was it both of them 3 cell phones? It was a 1.5 cell phone a piece. Or the girlfriend had 3 cell phones and the friends. Because when you run out on the highway, one naked, one not naked. I'm not sure how they make this call to the police. But maybe let me say the one who was in the car still had her phone. But the police find the man at the ATM. Another story said that the girls tell them, better you check the ATM, right? You will see a man in woman tights and a woman jersey. Police said the 26-year-old man, this man is 26. I tell all there's heat on him. This, you know, from the time you hear the story, you know it's nobody in the 30s and 40s. In the 30s and 40s, is at a talk, and you know, coke and thing, and then you got love, and when you're in your 20s, naked. Police said the 26-year-old man faces 2 charges of robbery. Oh, the phones and the car. You rob the phones and the ATM card, and you rob the friend the car. 2 charges of kidnapping, and 1 charge of false imprisonment. PC Persad will continue investigations. Listen, this is the greatest story I ever heard in my life. All I want to tell you was the real story. The real story is this man went to make fares and short pay. He didn't pay. I see something like this recently, it had a little thing going on Instagram. I think it would be on either Hollywood Unlocked or one of them kind of shade room or one of them things where a girl is in a, this is abroad, right? She is in a hotel corridor. They had no garage in that hotel, so they was just in the corridor. And she is naked as she born, jacking up a fella, and she said, give me my money. You want thing for free? It's no freeness here. Sparrow saying about that, it's no freeness here. Give me my money and let me go my way. So my version of this story is that the man wanted threesome, but he only had some money or some money. So wherever it has happened, fight break out. I can't come up with why he had only woman clothes, but everybody liked different things. So I might be able to explain that, but it's explainable because people like different things. Some people, you know what I mean? You like a little tights and a little woman clothes. Sometimes you have to pay people to do these things for you. Your woman home, you can't go and tell your woman home, baby, you're going, I want to put on your clothes and I will get sweaty. That might be the end of your relationship. So sometimes you have to make a down payment on somebody who could create little fantasies for you and all these things. You know what I mean? So my guy fantasy was apparently to wear the tights. No, because no point in this story they say that the woman jumped out the car on the highway naked. That would have been in the story. This is Newsday. If that was part of the story, they would have definitely tell us that by now. But if they didn't say it, I had to assume that everybody had on clothes, which means that this girl must charge him extra to bring clothes for him to wear. And what happened? It had no fight and no struggle and all that in the hotel and all these things. I don't believe none of that story. Nobody in thief, no Almero. And number one, also just as a side note, right? If your woman on 3 phone, you probably only know about one. One of the phone is to make little. You could say fairs. I don't say in bad. This whole episode gone wrong. You can't say a bunch of words that you can't say in the episode. But what would be a better way to say that? Solicit. I don't want to say no bad words. She have a side hustle. The other phones is for her side hustle, and you may not know that she have a whole next phone, which she is only switch on when you go to work, because that is her work phone. So anytime she had 3 phones between them, that is the little side phone. That is the little burner. So my guy went in for threesome plus cross-dressing money, and he paid short. So the girls and them gangster him, but he can't tell the police that, right? The girls and them gangster him. Just like how that girl got gangster in the hotel in the States. The girl jack up the man and tell you, a woman from the hotel was coming. This is the one in foreign. The woman coming with a little blanket thing to wrap around the woman to say, oh gosh, well, cover up yourself. She said, no, I want to cover. I want money. Don't be taken for freeness. I want my money. Pay me. And now, this man put himself in a position where he's publicly known as a man who's paid for little services. Because you want a short pay, you don't do these things. Fairness, when people do business for you, pay the people their money. Don't try to short pay people and scam people and outsmart people. That's the moral of this whole story, So I get into the real version. The man pay for a threesome. The man requests threesome by cross-dressing fantasy. The girls and them say, here, what is he seeing? 500 for my friend, 500 for me, 500 for the cross dress. That will be 1,500. They come in the room, they make the things start happening. They say, hey, I want money up front and I'm playing them kind of games. He said, nah, you'll get your money when you go in the ATM. She said, I want no ATM money, because all your man when all is done, all is run, and we take. And he said, nah, don't worry yourself, I'll take. And then a struggle ensued, but the struggle was really because he fight to pawn the tight something. And she said, no, you can't pawn that. There's a 500. I walk with these things here. Don't short pay. And whatsoever it is happening, them girls and them smart, them girls and them working, they ain't going through. How you go put yourself on the line like that and then go with no money? You see, it's better you call police and tell police, listen, this fella say he going by the ATM, meet me by the ATM. So when you reach by the ATM, them thought, well, the cash would have just hand over. And when the cash hand over, transaction done, who get what they get? Everybody good leave and go home happy. But it wasn't to be.
Let me tell you something. That is what we call an epistemological transcendental. It's nonsensical, unfounded, and foolish.
And it reminds me of a story, right? It just so happened that a man who Dave Chappelle refers to as Juicy Smollier was found guilty for lying to the police. We're waiting to see now if he'll be sentenced to prison or community service or what the situation might be. Looking like he will get some long community service time, but Reading from the New York Times. New York Times. The actor who was found guilty of falsely telling police he was the victim of a hate crime faces a possible sentence of up to 3 years, but experts disagree on whether the judge is likely to incarcerate him or not. The discussion in the case of Jussie Smollett, the actor convicted on Thursday of falsely reporting he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack, has turned to whether he will receive prison time or not. Now, I don't know if all of you are following this story, yeah? But you know I'm a huge Dave Chappelle fan, right? So, what you need to do is go on YouTube, right? And just search for Dave Chappelle, Jussie Smollett. And listen to the 5 minutes that Dave Chappelle did on this, long before he was convicted or anything and charged, and the police had doubts and stuff. And it was something else, because at the time, there are a bunch of people on Twitter saying that people shouldn't say nothing about this, and it's so sad because there's a hate crime against somebody in the LGBTQ community and it's a part of the black community. According to Dave Chappelle, people stay silent on it in support of him. People wasn't coming out and talk about it because everybody knew it wasn't true. In the middle of the night in Chicago, in that cold, you go in subway, and then there's two men come and attack you. Like if thief is fool, when them see you, the big strong fellows who come and see you, what them going to rob you for, and then they had to split up the money and all that kind of thing. This story with these girls and them in the double park in the hotel just remind me too much of that Jussie Smollett story. So, like Trinidad always is find a way to be current with whatever happening globally. We right up there with them. So we have our own Jussie Smollett story, and I don't know why this guy. I think I figured out most of the story, but I don't know why he in the tights and the top. And I feel it's because them girl and them gangster and all the thing where they say are struggling too, and he beat the woman. All that was made up story, so these girls could get a 1,500. Them girls and them take his clothes. All he could have leave the place with is them woman clothes. What they bring for him for the 500. They soften him up. He must get some good lumps. And then they carry him to the ATM and say, listen, we getting with money. We go and call police and say, you beat we up in the palm. And we getting with dollars. But it's one of the greatest stories I've read in a long, long time. Now, talking about threesomes, let me talk real quick. We're going into the music, but let me talk real quick about our own little threesome. Trinidad, Tobago, and the PDP. What's in the and I celebrate my 1 year anniversary last year. I can't help but think. And salute to Farley. Farley get married over the weekend, Farley's having a great life. Farley's winning elections, getting married. Everything is running smooth. But it seems as though he and Watson, well, if you look at last year, it ain't looking good so far. Them men starting to, they're fighting like them people in the palm, but they what is called it? They shadow boxing a little bit. So I staying on as PSA head. Yeah, 3 months to leave as PSA head. Must open beaches now. Nah, we never say must open beaches now. They kind of sparring, you know what I mean? Again, a little shadow boxing kind of sparring action happening. But whatever it is, it there to provide us with some good entertainment. But again, I want to say congratulations to those in the PPP. What do you think is PDP? Or maybe I say PP? PP or PDP? PDP? Is it just a D separating the two P's? But I want to say congratulations to them. I was too tired last night when that thing finished to say a whole lot about it. But I'm glad that they win Tobago. As I say, we had to take examples from them in terms of getting people to move on. This idea that somebody own your vote, we had to get past that. But I'm eager to see how this turn out within the next coming. It ain't going to be long, I ain't even saying years again, them weeks. Because more and more stories will come out like this. Because Watson is a man who shoot from the hip. Farley seems to be much more measured in the way he's approached things. But Watson shooting from the hip. But he's the head of the THA. Farley had to respond to whatever it is being said. And anything that Watson say reflecting poorly on him. So Watson, the night I see a clip saying, Watson, he ready to open back the beaches. And apparently Herbert Volney, he gained on the action immediately. Yeah, reading from the Express. This is from Anna Ramdas, 12th of December. Former High Court Judge Herbert Volney took a sea bath yesterday, which would be in defiance of COVID-19 regulations in Trinidad and Tobago. He did not disclose the location of the beach, however. In a telephone interview with the Express yesterday, he would only say that he has the wherewithal to venture into the Caribbean Sea. He said he would not advise people to follow his lead and go into the sea unless they have the resources to contest it in court. Volney posted a video on his yesterday on his Facebook page of him getting into the ocean, which went viral on social media. He criticized Keith Rowley for the continued closure of beaches under the COVID-19 regulations. Now, I don't know if you remember, Herbert, Section 34, Brad Boyce, Volney. I want to play the little clip for you to hear what it is we'll be dealing with.
Hey, Keith Rowley, look at me, Herbert Volney. You see where I going? I'm going in the sea. Look the sea. Look the sea. See? I'm going in the sea. And there's not one damn thing that you could do about it, Keith Rowley.
Right.
Okay? You're suffering the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Very much so.
Keeping them away from the sea.
Yes.
That has all the blessings of the Lord.
Yes.
To deal with the COVID.
Yes.
You are a wicked man.
He's
I'm
wicked, yes.
telling you that.
I see.
But you see, you wouldn't keep me back.
No.
Fortunately for me, I'm one of those who could afford to pay to come in the seawater.
You got that money.
And there's not one damn thing that you can do about it. So eat your heart out, Keith Christopher Rowley.
Wow.
You grim reaper, you mean man.
Oh, so Volney. Turns out I wasn't in Trinidad, I was in Dominica. So I little go and follow her. I like to follow people. Don't study Volney at all. I don't know what the hell we come out.
Let me tell you something. That is what we call an epistemological transcendental. It's nonsensical, unfounded, and foolish.
We was all the time. And listen, if you listen to the beginning of the video good, right? You're hearing somebody telling them, hey, they're slippery. Come on. You're seeing a little child running in the water behind him. You know how long he must take to film that little 2-minute video? Somebody had to tell him, Daddy, don't go in there. They're slippery. Daddy, don't get the phone wet. You cannot point that side, Daddy. You have to turn it around. The camera facing you. Listen, it must take Volney about an hour and a half to come up with that. But salute to her about Volney, man. You take a little sea bath. You know what I mean? We like you for that. And while we on the topic of what's it called? Rowley bashing. It had a next little clip I see on MYOB. This is my new favorite Instagram page now. Again, it's myob.enttt. If you want to get the bacchanal news, you could follow TV6 and Newsday and Guardian and all of them for the news. But when you're on the bacchanal news, you have to follow this site, right? This is just labeled as an elderly lady talking about Keith Rowley. Now, I'm not saying yet whether I agree with everything she say here, but I just wait to hear how she talk. You can hear that Tobagonian woman, so this is coming off of the heels of a 14-1 election loss in the Tobago House of Assembly election, which Rowley said he expected, but he didn't expect it to be so bad. You know what I mean?
You were never a good man.
No.
And don't play, come in and talk up in front that we are your employers and we are your employers. Because if people put you there to do a job for them, and this is how you're treating them, insult them every time they ask a question. You ain't ready yet.
No.
You're not ready. In the first place, you say you never wanted the job.
No.
So anytime a person don't like what they're doing, they will never do a good thing with it. They will always nasty it and make it look bad, and that is what you're doing. A big man like you, behave yourself. It's how you behave or you get out.
Yes.
And the government and free the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Freedom. We want to be free. We want to be free from you. You're making everything look bad in this nation for me.
Like
you're not good at all. You're not good at all. You know how to tell you?
No.
You're not good. It's the worst thing ever happened to Trinidad and Tobago. You, Keith Christopher Rowley. I know you just be on the live and them. I want you to listen. This is one woman in Tobago who don't afraid you.
Yes. No, this is my playing of this on the podcast is no means any endorsement on what the lady say. But it have one part that she say that I like. She say, you're telling we as the employers, but look how you're getting on when people ask you a question. I don't know why he would not think that, or maybe I should say, I don't know why he would think that he would still be the most popular person when you talk down to people like that. But again, you see this entitlement to a vote. You see the idea of, even when you hear I listened to the pollsters last week in the THA election, right? Even when you hear them speak, they talk about a PDP vote or a PDP polling box or polling station. And many heads in local elections, general elections, it was. But this is a PNM polling station. And we're waiting for this. I can't remember the name of the thing, in every constituency, several polling station things is coming. They basically say, no, this is a UNC stronghold. And we need to get rid of this idea that UNC and PNM and anybody else who come behind them are strong. It's a no stronghold. We're not supporting you by default. And that's what the woman's saying. Because we have an attitude where, and the government of today pick up this attitude wholesale, where anybody who say anything dissenting to them or about them is automatically a UNC. Or automatically trying to unsettle them. I couldn't be asking a question genuinely because I don't understand, or genuinely because I want to know, or genuinely because I don't believe what you tell me the first time. As all of us as mortals, if you tell me something and me believe you, I ask you again or clarify or so. But apparently certain people above that, and Tobago give a response for what is happening when you're above these things. Now I want you to remember something, right? The last general election we had, all you remember what the results was? Throw back your mind. PNM win the election. Remember that Gypsy is the only man who changed her. The only thing happened different was Gypsy's seat. Don't forget that, right? No time. But PNM won 22 seats. And if we only have 41 constituency, that means UNC win 19. So, by my estimation, PNM does not like collaborating with other parties. We see that when it was 6-6. We see that when it was, I want to say 19-19-2, 18-18-2, whatever the number was. We saw it before on the PNM, but the UNC is not above collaborating. We saw that when that People's Partnership, which was, in the famous words of Mr. Shaq, the COP, the UNC, the NJAC, and the TOP, right? But with PNM refusing to collaborate, I had to assume that the only party that will make an attempt to collaborate, should general elections be tomorrow and should the PDP win the 2 Tobago seats, would be the UNC. That would mean that UNC moved from 19 to 21 seats and PNM moved from 22 to 20. So you just work out that maths for me. And salute to everybody in the PDP, salute to everybody who vote green. I find if you're not getting good representation, you're supposed to get rid of whoever representing you from top to bottom. I have no problem with that. But in a strange twist of events, to my surprise, again, I'm not the smartest man they ever had. I want to say in a shocking, or not so shocking, turn of events, Kamla Persad-Bissessar is calling for fresh elections based on the people of Tobago having a resounding victory to the PDP. So in a not so shocking turn of events, right, the Honorable Right Kamla Persad-Bissessar is calling for fresh elections because, as she says, quote unquote, the people of Tobago have spoken. So PNM, having been beaten so soundly in Tobago, has to be a representative or represent the mandate of the people being withdrawn from the PNM. We no longer have confidence in you. Let me go to CCN TV6 for the report.
Leaders. In a statement on Facebook today, the political leader of the United National Congress said, the people of Tobago have spoken.
Right.
And that their voices are clear and not to be ignored.
Yes.
Persad-Bissessar says the voters chose new leaders to help chart a course towards a future for sustainable opportunities and transformation for all in Tobago.
Of course.
She congratulated the Progressive Democratic Patriots leaders, Watson Duke and Folly Augustine, and PDP members and supporters on what the opposition leader calls a resounding victory in the THA elections.
Resounding, that's the only way I could describe it. There's no better way to describe it than resounding. But she say more, she didn't stop there. I have more I want to share with you because it's shocking. It's not, I mean, I shock. I don't know if you shocked by this, but I shocked out of my words. I gave me the smartest person in Loop News. Kamla calls for forensic audit of THA. Opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar is calling for a forensic audit into the Tobago House of Assembly. In a statement on Friday, Persad-Bissessar said recent THA elections was a political earthquake that sent shockwaves across Trinidad and Tobago. The opposition leader added, the people of Tobago have spoken clearly and forcefully, rejecting the abysmally poor manner in which the PNM has conducted the affairs of Tobago. Really myself are clapping for getting through that sentence. She said those who have mismanaged the THA to the detriment of the people of Tobago must be held to account. In this regard, I join the call by the people of Tobago for a full and comprehensive forensic audit of the THA. I say so. It's one of the first things any incoming party should do, a full forensic audit into the behavior of the people who were there before. If we do more of that, we're going to have less of the problems that we having. But I just want to ask a question because I was so surprised. I want all to go back and check all their archives and just highlight for me when last the UNC sent a candidate for Tobago. Whether it's THA elections, general elections, wherever, them decide they go win the national election without putting anybody in the two constituencies in Tobago. If the THA election moved from 12 seats to 15, is there a possibility that Tobago could move from 2 seats to 4, let me say, to keep the odd number, right? So we don't have a split vote or anything like that. Is there a possibility? And if that is the case, will the UNC start sending people to Tobago to go up for elections? Because I find it kind of strange when people use the words hypocrisy and all these kind of things. I just find it real odd that you're so concerned about Tobago. I thought this Tobago volume was being, no, when I watch it, how come you so concerned about Tobago all of a sudden? It's strange. Listen, politics in this country is no joke, you know. Or let's stop sending people there. Because Tobago has spoken to the UNC clearly many times throughout its history. So you decide you ain't bothering with that. You keep in your budget for the 39 seat down here. Let them 2 seats fall with them here and you go make a deal after, right? But now that it have deal to be made, because you can't make no deal with the PNM, them no deal. Yeah, all of a sudden it's Tobago. You Tobago, you Calypso Rose. We had to call you Kamala Rose. Officially. Queen of the road, Your Majesty. I don't know, boys. Politics in this country, if you follow it for too long, you could go crazy. But if the PNM losing so resoundly, I agree with that. You could say losing resoundly. I agree with if the PNM get beaten so badly. That is a clear signal that we are unhappy in Tobago with your leadership. But the fact that you can't send nobody at all, it should tell you where you stand. All right, I'm done. Nothing else to talk about. Nothing happened this week, right? Pretend nothing ever happened. I'm going to attempt to do something here that hasn't been done before in Trinidad, right? We never had too much of verses. I think they do some versions of verses, you know, with Destra went against Alison and something. But one, I like this idea of a verses. So boy, Colonel King, he's one of the first people to tell me about this idea. And I say, boy, next year Christmas, I had to do that. And we at next year Christmas. So I want to go through the songs that these men have. Now, verses is usually 20 songs for 20 songs. But I don't feel I had time for 20. What I want to promise you is both Baron and Scrunter could do 20 songs against one another with Christmas songs alone. Salute to both of them. And I ain't talking about I'm talking about hits. I'm talking about hits. Any one of these songs could be your favorite Christmas song. Or any Trini or Tobagonian favorite Christmas song during these times. So who should go first? I'm going to pick out the best in them. And it has some songs where I feel answering them going to be very hard for the man who come in next. And I only play no originals, no remix.
Here we go.
Baron can answer this, boy.
I went by running by my neighbor, and I buy Miss Gloria. I say, Madam, what you have to offer? She say, I have everything right here. I don't buy whiskey, neither strong rum. It is against my religion. I have homemade wine in all the scriptures. Or you could sample anyone.
Sing!
Pomsite, hot brown, gosh,
Listen, Baron has to answer that. What about if Baron plays something like this? These men just warming up, you know.
Neighbor, neighbor, open the door, neighbor. It's Christmas morning. You should be waking. Put the drinks on the table. I hope you're able. Me and the boys come to give you a parang. We ain't living till the liquor done. Oh yo yo yeah yeah yeah. Come on fellas, let me take the next one. Oh yo yo yeah yeah yeah. We have about 10 months to clean. Oh yo yo yeah yeah yeah. We drinking from pain to kerosene. Oh yo yo yeah yeah yeah. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hey. Last year we went by Valley Rum. He placed Matt and Heidi Ham. Bring one bottle of a van. We can finish with one lash. Had to leave the man house quick. He say he wife was feeling sick. That same night she was liming in the quiz. Well, if he think that he gets away. Oh yo yo yeah yeah yeah. We go in by he and spend the whole day. Oh yo yo yeah yeah yeah. We eating and drink everything he bring. Oh yo yo yeah yeah yeah. When we leave there he must never think. Oh yo yo yeah yeah yeah. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas.
And listen, when Scrunter hear that and he say, wait now, you want to come and talk about going by people for Christmas? By me?
Wagwani friends from Tobago, Christmas they reaching Fat Meadow, with a box beats and a quattro, a violin and a banjo. They say they always had a plan to give me family a parang. They make up my mommy right away when they ring out with this love way. My Jeffrey, oh, get up. It's Christmas morning. Hey, like you are here, the neighbor come crowing, no crying. It's Christmas morning. Madam Jeffrey, oh, get up. It's Christmas morning. Time to put on smoke in your kitchen, oh girl. It's Christmas morning. Madam Jeffrey, oh, wait up. It's Christmas morning. I hope you know it's white oak a drinking, oh girl. It's Christmas morning. Madam Jeffrey, oh, get up. It's Christmas morning. Yeah. It's Christmas morning. Mommy put coffee on the fire, encouraging them to stay a little longer. Ham and bread on the table. Why don't she pull out the bottle? The music went in my neighborhood. He pull the old sacks below his bed. Come across and join the bacchanal. They wouldn't stop singing at all. My Jeffrey, oh, get up. It's Christmas morning. Hey, you were here, the neighbor come crowing, oh girl. It's Christmas morning. Madam Jeffrey, oh, get up, get up, get up.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
Christmas morning. My Jeffrey, oh, wake up. It's Christmas morning. Time to put some smoke in your kitchen, oh girl. It's Christmas morning. Madam Jeffrey, oh, wake up. It's Christmas morning. I hope you know it right to take it, oh girl. It's Christmas morning. Yeah. Pass the boys on Tobago, getting on with the land too. I don't know where the noon come from. He falling without any question. Pick up the pan, we boil the ham, and one time he start to jam. My Jeffrey, oh, get up. Well, you were here, the neighbor come going, oh girl. Madam Jeffrey, oh, living. I hope you know it while took a drinking, oh girl. Madam Jeffrey, oh, wake up. Time to put some smoke in your kitchen, oh girl. Madam Jeffrey, oh, living.
Get a little glass of wine. Wake up, it's Christmas morning. Oh boy, it's Christmas morning. Madam Jeffrey, oh, living, it's Christmas morning.
I say it's only white don't be drinking, oh girl.
It's Christmas morning.
Madam Jeffrey, oh, get up. Time to put some smoke in your kitchen, oh girl.
Christmas morning, Madam Jeffrey, oh, wake up, it's Christmas morning. Boy, how it looking so far? Only feel Baron looking like if he could survive. Baron have a bag he could go in that Scrunter cannot go in, eh? But Scrunter have a bag he could go in that Baron can't go in neither. So what Scrunter going to do when Baron starts to do things like this? Scrunter can answer these, you know. Well, let's take one with me now.
All hail the power of Jesus' name. The angels spring forth. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown him. Crown him. Crown him and crown him, Lord of all. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let us crown him King of Kings. Let us crown him Lord of all. Oh yeah. Crown him ye morning stars of light. Floating ball. Now hail the strength of Israel might and crown him, crown him, crown him and crown him Lord of all. Oh yeah, hallelujah, oh yeah, praise the Lord, oh yeah. Let us crown him King of Kings. Oh yeah. Let us crown him Lord of all. Oh yeah. Crown him ye martyrs of your God, who from his altar call. Exalt the stem of Jesse's root and crown him, crown him, crown him and crown him Lord of all. Oh yeah, sing the song. Oh yeah.
Bim, bidi, bidim, dim, dim. You see that bag Baron going in there? And he could stay there, no, he could stay in the carols area where Scrunter really had no answer. But when Scrunter started to do this, I say I was only playing originals. I better play this. Anita.
The reason why I ask you is not so much what it is you. But Christmas time is coming and everybody getting something. I get your cooking, I get your stove, I buy your car, pressure cooker, I get your jewelry,
yes.
I get your money,
yes.
I get your land.
In double palm.
I want my breakfast in the black noise. I don't want no more egg noise. Give me all that I can think of. I want my breakfast in the dark.
Baron really though, when you check out all Baron big Christmas hits, right? He really don't have a parang. Alright, anyway, he's play a parang strum, then a different kind of strum to a kaiso strum. But what Baron could come back and say is, wait now, why you play the Anita? He say, when you playing song for Christmas and you want to play song about woman against me? The war gets sticky, you know.
I see her and I want her. I got to have her. Hey. Oh yeah. I want that Spanish woman to marry me, to play me a soca parang, to move me please. Parang so nice and parang so sweet. Wind up your waist and dance to the beat. I don't want no sorry love ginger beer. I ain't drinking them thing this year. This Christmas all I want is Spanish woman from Paradise. Digo Martin.
Only they go Martin.
In a rematch. Jonathan from Lopino and Los Bajos. Don Marata Rampanaika. I see her and I want her. I got to have her. Oh, yeah. Get there. Give me. I tried all them other woman before. All other woman. But them Spanish mujer is all I adore. Them Spanish woman. I like to see them when they walk and whine. Full of and tenderness, it's so fine. You know how to cut and how to contrive, keep their family alive. So this year I want to take home a Spanish woman from Aruba, from Cumana, from Black Chicken,
bring them in pairs.
Yes.
From a repo, Sangre Chiquito, Spanish Royal, Coco Paya, I see her, and I want her. I got to have her.
Hey Baron, is that woman going there, boy?
Hey boy.
Look, she going there, boy. And for your interest, she is money.
You're lying.
Soca paranda, para mover la piel. Comparame, digo manje, in a riva, dona puma. From your chickens, bring them in pairs. Spanish royal, coco fire.
Listen. It started to get hot, you know, so men have to draw for big tune now, you know. Men have to go in the big tune back, boy.
Walk it up!
Only here we talking. Only here listening to me my old talk. Only can't take a little one drink with me. Your mouth still dry in this little lime here.
I in a quarrel in Christmas morning. We don't machine up the kitchen. He falling behind the sun. So I went across to see what's really going on. Just by Wellington, you know when I come back home, the damn woman gone, so asking, Leroy, where your mother gone?
Just check it.
Answer me, where your mother gone? She ain't wash the well, she ain't clean upstairs. Your mother ain't put no over the handwork. Little boy, where you move out there? Answer me, where your mother gone? She leave the cake right in the oven. Your mother leave the pastors to burn. Hey Leroy, where you move out there?
You know, when you reach this part of the war, it's not too much talking, you know.
Oh yeah. Get it.
Yes. The way it's called bombs.
Hey. Alright. Christmas is big business, they say. And me a dumping. You see your land sun green. Let's pack up the grocery. Women always want you cutting, and the house want repainting. So the them businessmen could win. They say that Christ is born on Christmas Day. They say that is a pagan holiday. I say no way. Cause when I see the love in the land,
boy, it's Christmas again.
Old man Jack stretching their hand,
boy, it's Christmas again.
It's the Christmas that unite all family.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
Sing it with me.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
Come on, come let it sing.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
Give it. People all over the country, busy, all Monday preparing for Christmas morning. Children getting up early to see what mommy and daddy have put them under the Christmas tree. They really say Christmas is for children. It is a joy to share this day with them and their little friends. Cause as you know, Christmas is a love.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
It is a special gift from above.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
Christmas has put spirit in the air.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
To make each and everyone share.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
All little girls and boys playing with their brand new toys. All inside me that filled with joy.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
Oh, sing it with me.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
Come on, come let me sing.
Boy, it's Christmas again.
You know, in this little segment here, the songs on them getting hard to answer. But Scrunter could easily come and say, listen, when you're talking about girls and boys getting toys, you want we go down a Santa Claus road?
Ay, mira, chiquita, yo quiero...
Yo, we go down a Santa Claus road?
Ven acá que baila conmigo. Baila, mi amor. Baila. Capitán. Santa, tell me, spending Christmas with me. This year when he come down, he partying with Trini. He said to get all the bush rum ready.
Yes.
And the wild meat too. And a room somewhere in Santa Cruz to relax when I take my booze. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh God. Oh yeah, yeah. I want a bella boy. Oh yeah, yeah.
The dashing and bacalao.
Oh yeah, yeah. Santa want to pray. Oh yeah. Pack my suitcase already. I just waiting on a flight. So tell everybody I'm coming in Christmas night. I ain't coming on no reindeer. That takes too much time. I can't wait to reach ya to hold somebody and wine. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I want a fella. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The dancing and bacala. Oh yeah, yeah. Santa want to jam. Oh yeah, yeah.
Listen, and you see the war get hot. Anybody who know about Clash, right? Know when the war get hot and it come down to the end. You know what man start to draw for? Combination tune. To the hard way. Baron go draw for H2O flow. You feeling go draw for some friends?
Everybody drinking. All night we dancing. While the music playing. Look the children singing. The sweetest Christmas line. The sweetest Christmas line.
What a party. The sweetest Christmas line. But listen, if you're drawing for combination, you have to make sure the man you're drawing it against ain't had the same combination. So Scrunter don't know who's H2O flow?
Christmas I was lonely,
so lonely,
and I didn't have no money, but now I am so happy, cause I found my pretty lady. Hey, this year is you and me, we going on a spree, nice clothes and jewelry, and a nice big Christmas tree, gifts for the family, a big ham and a turkey. I hope that you are ready for the office Christmas party.
All of Christmas time, I'm spending Christmas with you. Every party, every line, I'm spending Christmas with you. I'm leaving all my friends behind, I'm spending Christmas with you. Cause I am yours and you are mine, I'm spending Christmas with you. 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 I'm spending.
So the wait and Scrunter part, you know. One thing about these two artists, right? It's easy to start to feel they're running out of tune, right? Because when you're listening to them, you're telling yourself, well, what again a man like Baron have? You come at him with the H2O flow. You come with that and listen, I only play one out of Baron's many Christmas, what is called them thing? Carols or things like Crown Him and that medley. Where you have it, O Little Town of Bethlehem, Joy to the World, Feliz Navidad. Anybody you're going by for Christmas time, you must hear them just pound that Baron medley and hear him run through a bunch of Christmas. That's not carols. What you call them again? Whatever you call them, right? And I ain't going back to none of them. And you could easily feel they run out of tune. But this is the bomb part. When you reach 1 for 1 in the clash, it's bombs coming at you, you know.
Yeah.
like it play already, right? Does it play?
A one-man parang, that is one way that's coming. When you see me dress up, just like a music show, looking for action, don't ask no foolish question. If you want to join a real, I can't stop, you know. Marac in my back pocket, talk, I can't forget it. Hang across my shoulder and mandolin. Hey, yes, I don't want no argument. Toting my own instrument. If I show the guitar, the banjo and violin. Get it in. From Sangre Grande all the way to Seagulls, Parang night and day. I'm looking for good players and chorus. Parang night and day. Maracas, Parang, Dominicagas, Parang, Ancho Quemado, Parang, mucho, mucho, mucho barrandero. Hey, give it. Give it. Caminante, the traveling parang. Yes. From August to Lewa, he's only bilateral, roaming all over to find a good parang partner. A man who could only levanta. Hey, I passing by Julio, he just play and me in quattro, and I know that the wife could sing. Hey, Carlos go play big banjo, he does bust up string for so. I make sure I have extra banjo and guitar string. So let me sing from Sangre Grande all the way to Seagulls, Parang night and day. I'm looking for good players and chorus. Parang night and day. Marima, Parang, Siparia, Parang, Palo Seco, Parang, mucho, mucho, mucho parangero.
Bim, bim, bidi, bidi, bidim, bim, bim. One thing in a war you must always know to answer back. So when a man sing a big bomb like Caminante and what he with always parang as a one-man parang, you feel we can answer back as a one-man parang side going all over the country to hear where Scrunter went.
This pretty little girl from Venezuela. Everybody calling her Nikita. Got me an invitation letter to spend the Christmas Venezuela. I said, Nikita, girl, you're crazy. December month, you just can't get me. I always make it my duty to make my country people happy. I'm a Pavlopino by Wheeler in Tando.
Nice enough the Christmas.
Rose in Arima.
Where did you win?
Garage in Marabella.
Thinking about the little children, I really cannot disappoint them. There is nothing that I can do to even try to entertain you. Not leaving Angostura liquor.
No.
You go down there and drink tequila. You getting babas by the gallon.
Hey, people name call.
And anyhow you go is
Baron.
I'm a good Tacarigua.
The nice of the Christmas.
And check out Solito.
The nice of the Christmas.
I must come Valencia.
The nice of the Christmas.
I must go Coronage.
The nice of the Christmas.
They're quattro, boy. But I tell you, it's men who could answer anything you play, no matter how much bomb you bring. Men have bombs.
I didn't pass by my neighbor. She gon' start to fuss. If I ain't come, she gon' start to fuss. If I ain't come, she won't talk to me. If I ain't come to drink, she whiskey. Neighbor, neighbor, your boy coming, neighbor, leave me to one. Hey. Neighbor, take it easy. I guarantee, please don't jump the gun. Hey. Get that. Tradition. I go by she come by me. What? But me partners making confusion, trying to take she away from me. I just hope this joke they're joking. By the time they leave, I ain't getting nothing. Boy, she go start to ball. If I ain't come, she won't come at all. If I ain't come, that old man go dead. If I ain't come to eat sweet bread. Neighborhood, why you yelling? Neighborhood, people hearing. Neighborhood, I'll be there for sure. Neighborhood, it's Christmas Day. Neighborhood, you'll have your way. I'll take it on the floor. Yeah.
You know, anytime you start to talk about neighbor oi, and you're going by people to eat and things, is the wrong man you're telling that to? Bombs! Na-na-na-na-na. Na-na-na-na-na. Go to that, Baron. Na-na-na-na-na.
I wake up Christmas morning, I say I go in Parang. From the time I leave my home, I decide I'm Parang alone. I got to check out Susan first, to wish her a Merry Christmas. Before I go take a seat, she started to buy me thing to eat. A roast pork, curry chicken, dal, crab and dumpling, pie, pastel. Eat something before you go. Yeah. Eat something before you go. Eat something before you go.
What if I ain't come?
Eat something before you go.
Bidi-bida-bum-bum. Bam-bada-bum-bum. Ba-da-bada-bum-bum. Ba-da-bada-bum-bum. Ba-ba-di-bidam. Bidi-bidi-bam.
When I say I gotta check her out, she said no, stay there, we have a ball. It's only now you just pass through. This is why I'm prepared for you.
Yes.
You know today's Christmas Day. Anything you want to eat, just say. You could eat the bread up to the bone. Boy, make yourself at home. I have black cake, turkey, wild meat, lap and goatee, grapes, apple. Boy, come and sit round the table. Eat something before you go. Eat something before you go. Eat something before you go. Eat something before you go.
Now hear this. Half a song clash and half of verses is about argument. So when I say neighbor oi, and I say if I ain't come, you come and play, eat something before you go. So we come in or we go in? It's come or go.
Hey, get that.
Me and Stacy song, you know, she vexed with me when I go to Parang, you know, I never tell her this story. true story, listen.
Every time Parang season comes around,
day and night is Stacy singing this song.
As I pick up my quattro to go with the boys. Before I hit your door, you start making noise. When they see I'm trying something new, I'm staying home with you. All the chores are helping you do. I'm tired of the complaining, the constant tongue lashing. So when they come for me, I want you go with me. Way-oh, then you go see how the parangos have me. Way-oh, now you go know why I love me Parang so. Way-oh, just come along, you don't bound to learn this song. Way-oh, then you go know why I love me Parang so. Way-oh, hey, come go, get it. Way-oh, come go, hey, yeah. Give it. Yo, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. Every time when I come home from Parang, you accusing me for having outside woman. And when I deny, you swell up your mouth.
Stacy, you really don't know what Parang is about.
So while you sewing the curtain, I go do the cooking.
Not.
Boil the ham, do the house cleaning. Vanish the chairs for you, black cake I'm making too. But when we done, honey, you must Parang with me. Way-oh, then you go see how the parangos of me. Way-oh, now you go know why I love me Parang so. Way-oh, just come along, you don't want to learn this song. Way-oh, now you go know why I love me Parang so. Way-oh, hey, come go, get it. Way-oh.
One thing about Song Clash you have to know. You see, we use Anita early, right? And make him draw out all the big tune. And we know we could go toe-to-toe with any big tune he play. Because I come go as Baron's biggest tune, right? But Scrunter and Baron performing all about already. So Scrunter don't know. He coming to end the show with either Congo, Caminante, or Spanish Woman. It's one out of the three. He have plenty bomb tune, but them is the three tune he and then he dance with. So what we do, we use Anita and Madam Jeffrey and Leroy and make him have to draw. He can't come in no soft tune for them thing. He can't play no Christmas carol and them thing them time. He has to come with song. So when he beats out all his song and them, he keeps something like this in the end for him. No answer.
I don't have to prepare because I know the time is near. I feel a change of climate flowing through the atmosphere. Christmas song keep playing, Parang group getting in line. I hope that I bring me exactly what I have in mind. I want a piece of pork, I want a piece of pork, I want a piece of pork for me Christmas. I don't want no money cook, you could keep your callaloo. I want a piece of pork for me Christmas. I want a piece of pork, I want a piece of pork, I want a piece of pork for me Christmas. I don't want no money cook, you could keep your callaloo. I want a piece of pork for me Christmas.
Listen, this is going on forever, you know, but at that point when you done lock off your opponent, right? You could come and hit him songs like these, favorites, where everybody love. When your opponents park up, you could drop these bombs on them. We ain't matter play any clash. We still have things.
Baila, mi amor, baila. What? I done do all my painting. I hang up all my curtains. I making the oven just the carpet over down. When I leave this kitchen, and I come out this evening, I'm drinking white, I'm drinking black, I'm drinking punch and drinking fat, I'm drinking Bacardi and cherry.
I'm drinking anything.
Anything you give me.
I'm drinking anything.
For this Christmas,
I'm
drinking anything. For this Christmas, I'm drinking anything. I'm drinking white, I'm drinking black, I'm drinking punch and drinking fat, I'm drinking Bacardi and cherry.
I'm drinking anything.
Anything you give me.
I'm drinking anything. I'm drinking anything.
Whenever this time comes, it's so hard as hard fun. From ever since I like Parang, because my father name is one. So don't be against me. It's running the family. From the time September come, I buy me rum and put it down.
I'm drinking anything. I'm drinking anything. I'm drinking anything.
I'm drinking white, I'm drinking black, I'm drinking punch and drinking drinking Bacardi and cherry.
I'm drinking anything.
Anything you give me.
I'm drinking anything.
Christmas is not an excuse, but when I'm taking me booze, it's just that anyway I pass, somebody must hand me a glass.
My side.
Then why should I say no?
Why?
When sweet balance are good fruit.
Yeah, my line.
When them quattros are too strong, it encourage you to drink rum.
I'm drinking anything.
I'm drinking anything. I'm drinking white, I'm drinking black, I'm drinking punch and drinking fat, I'm drinking Bacardi and cherry.
I'm drinking anything.
Anything you give me.
I'm drinking anything.
I'm drinking anything. I'm drinking anything. I'm drinking white, I'm drinking black, I'm drinking punch and drinking fat, I'm drinking Bacardi and cherry.
I'm drinking anything.
Anything you give me. Anything you give me. And listen, I'm telling all you, I have Scrunter down as the king. Baron good, you know. And Baron song and them hard to beat. But it ain't joke song Scrunter have, you know.
For the Christmas in a Riemann, somewhere up in Mount Pleasant, I was among a big family, eating and drinking what I want, dancing, singing, having a good time. Every time a parang play, but Uncle Sam to see me, I ain't a young lady, pull me by the back door and he said, right, that I'm walking here tonight. Give it like you tried, that I'm walking here tonight. Walk on, take it live, that I'm walking here tonight. Like you're doing just for spite, that I'm walking here tonight. She's a Martinez, that is a family. This one here is red, that is a family. You see that one day she's Lopez, that is a family. And that one day is Valdez. That is a family. You believe right? That's why I'm walking here tonight. Talk about taking life. That's why I'm walking here tonight.
Now, one of the last reasons I'm wrapping up the episode on this, I'm leaving all with this. Why has Scrunter long as the Soca Parang King and the Christmas King? It's not just quality of hits. Because quality of hits, he could go toe-to-toe with anybody. Baron might be the closest to him. quantity of hits. It's a few men who could go up with he and Baron, but he's still a quantity because I still in play. The Parang now start. I in play. I in play plenty thing. It have things we in play. I in play the new song with he and Umi Makan, Umi Parang in. And he's still singing soca Parang hits. But you see when one of your normal hits become a soca Parang hit, what Parang side is play. And I just want to warn you, right? Anytime you bring a Parang side by you, because Rio says he's a free show king, Keek say they ain't want to pay me. I feel nobody just get short pay like Parandero. I don't know if there any Parandero go agree with me. Calypsonian soca man, nobody don't do free gig like Parandero. So anytime you have a little Parang side home by you, and you hear them sing this song, I want you to write a check, dip in your pocket, do a ACH, online transfer or something. Now this is why Scrunter is the greatest, because Scrunter have a normal big song in the Christmas. I'll leave you on this one and I enjoy this episode at a time. I feel like every week I will come and just play song and forget Rolly and them and things to talk about. This is hold somebody time, you know. Or hold a broom, a mop or a vacuum and clean out your place. If you have nobody to hold a meditation. But this is song for Christmas. Anybody asks you what this song again, tell them I say it is a Christmas tune. And if you see Scrunter, tell them I say so too.
This lady promoter approached me cool as ever. Say she had a show and dance and needed my performance. She said to me, will it cost it soda? The next thing I see is my demon poster. She want me to sing in she party. I don't want to pay me no money. I say, darling, I can't do that. Against the copyright act, but still she want me to sing in she party for free, but not me. No sorry.
Hey, this is dedicated to my guy Scratch Boy. I couldn't stop this episode without playing this one from a brethren Scratch Boy, guitar man of the best of them. That's some good guitar man, you know. But Scratch is a bad guitar man.
She say only one song, it wouldn't take so long. I know it is good promotion for the Calypsonian. I said, madam, this is my profession. When it's charity, I give a donation. She want me to sing in she party. I don't want to pay me no money. I said, darling, I can't do that. It is against the copyright act, but still, she want me to sing in she party. For free, but not me. No sorry.
Hey, I'll leave it only there. And I just want to put a disclaimer on this, right? That I'm saying Scrunter is a soca Parang king. But if Scrunter was to do a verses with Baron and play Singing She Party and open the door for Baron to play normal hits outside of Christmas time, right? I don't think Scrunter could keep up with Baron. Maybe for Carnival we go do that because it might be a decent matchup, you know, but maybe if Scrunter go against Baron, he might want to stick strictly to the soca Parang and the soca. Anything to do with Christmas. Parang, soca, Parang, whatever. But I don't think you want to go down the road of your normal soca with Baron. Very few could stand up next to him. So no, always love to Baron and always respect. But Scrunter, would I have it in the Christmas songs? And while my tongue is getting heavy and my speech getting complicated, I'm going to take this opportunity to say y'all stay safe. And I'm going to talk to y'all next week.